Hello everyone, welcome to Money Chess Kids. Today I want to show you the gameplay by Petra and Laura, and this beautiful game complete in only 27 moves with a very nice ending. And let's see how the game play. The game start with the knight to f3, knight f6, e3, b6, then b3, and bishop b7 was played. After this, bishop to b2 and e6 was played. Then the white play d5, and here you have the first 5 move, and the position is equal in this game. And here you have the d4, knight f6, knight f3, b6, Torre, London, and Colle system. And the game continue with the black move the bishop to b4, and this check the king and allow the black king to go for a short castling. So after this, c3 was played, and now bishop just back to e7, and the game continue with the knight b to d2, and the position is equal for both sides. Then c5 was played, and now the bishop to d3, trying to develop the bishop and bring the king to a castling, and for a safety to bring the king off the center. So after this, d5 was played, a very strong pawn move the center and trying to gain control and attack and have many activity for the black. So after this, the white just go for a short castling, and the black also go for a short castling. And after this, the d takes the pawn, and here the bishop continues to capture the pawn. So this is the first 10 move, and you can see the position is equal for both sides. And then they continue with playing queen to c2, trying to aim the diagonal and attack the pawn at h7. Here the black continue to develop knight b to e7, and after this, e4 was played, and here the pawn just capture the e4 pawn, and now the knight continue to capture the e4 pawn. After this, the knight just capture the e4 pawn, and then the bishop capture again, forcing it to go for the action. And after this, bishop capture, and then the queen just capture again. After this, the knight to f6, and up here is the first 15 move, and you can see now h and h. Then the game continue with the queen to move away, queen to c2, and here the b5 was played from the black. Then c4. After this, the pawn just capture, and here the white bring rook a to d1 to attack the queen. So after this, the queen just continue to move to a5 with the idea to attack the pawn at a2, and also you can bring the rook to c file and also d file and continue to storm at this area. After this, the bishop just capture the knight, and now after capture, the queen able to protect the pawn. Then the pawn just capture, and after this, queen capture the pawn, and here the rook f to d8, go for the rook and go for action. And after this, the queen just go for a check, queen to g4 check, and the king just move to f8. Then the rook do not want to exchange and go to c1 and continue to attack the bishop. So after this, the rook just come out and go to rook a, c8 and protect the bishop, and also the queen able to capture the pawn. And after this, the queen goes to h4, trying to attack the pawn. Also can attack the pawn at h7. So queen h4 was played, and the king moved to e7 and protect the pawn, giving up the pawn, and which this allowed the queen to capture the pawn at a2. So king e7 was played, and after this, the queen can capture. If you capture the pawn, then the queen will just capture the pawn, and this the position will remain equal. For example, after this, the rook c can go to e1, then the rook can go to h8 to attack the queen, and now the queen go back to d3, then the rook can go to g5, and this will just continue to attack, but nothing much it can be done, and it's still in the much more of the equal position. If you play queen to b5, and still the white is still safe from being attacked. And back to this position, if you capture with the queen first, then the queen will continue to capture the pawn, and after this, bishop to b6 or any move, the black is clearly winning, because if you move the bishop to go for the exchange, then the rook will just capture, and now after rook capture, then the queen will check, and now the king move up, then the queen will just capture the free rook and will be winning. And back to this position. So if you move, capture the pawn first, the queen capture the pawn, and it will be complete winning. And if you check, then it will be winning. If you capture the pawn, and if you don't move away the bishop, if you make another move such as you capture the rook, the pawn at b3, for example, queen takes the b3 pawn, then here you can just play a sacrifice such as rook takes the bishop, and if you use the rook to capture, then the queen will just capture the rook and check the king, and you're winning back. And after this action, white will have the extra knight, and therefore after this move, the rook is attacking this bishop and will be winning. And if you make a bishop check, then here you can just move away the king, and after move away the king, then now the rook can just attack the rook, and if you rook the capture it back, then the queen will go to h8 and check the king and win back the rook. So back to this position, king e7 was played. The best move will remain equal and will be a king to g7, and this able to protect both of the pawn. So instead, king e7 was played, and after this, rook c4 was played, and the white give up the pawn. And here, the queen just capture the pawn, and after this, the rook to f4, and we have the idea to attack the pawn and check the king, and so continue to capture the pawn and check. So if you move any move such as queen takes the pawn, and the idea for the white will continue to capture the pawn and check the king. And now if a king move to e8, and you have a simple checkmate with the queen takes f7 and have a checkmate. It also works if your king move to f8, the king will capture and it will be a checkmate. And if you move your king to d7, then the queen will just capture the pawn and win the pawn. So if the king just move to escape, such as king to c6, then the knight will just bring up, continue to check, and you have more pieces to continue to attack. So knight to e5 check, then the king go up to b5. Then now you can just move the rook to continue to attack. So for this move, the queen will be clearly better. Therefore, after this move, the rook to f4 is a strong and attacking pawn, and the black just move to b2, and this will protect the pawn and prevent the position to become worse. After this, the queen just capture the free pawn, and after capture this free pawn, this is a tactical blunder, and with this capture, the black is winning the game and it able to mate in 3. I'll give a couple of seconds to figure out how the black play and mate in 3. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves that the black play and mate in 3. And in this position, the black play queen takes f2 and check the king, and this will force the king to move either inside or to capture with the rook, and the bishop still pinning it. It's a strong attack, and this tactic is called a deflection. So with this, if the king move to h8, then you have a simple queen takes the rook and check again, and after this the knight defense, and you have a queen capture the knight and checkmate the king. So back to this position, if in the actual game the rook capture the queen, and after capture the queen, the rook to d1 check, and the white resign the game. And if you want to continue the game after the check, you can just defend with the knight, and here you just can use the rook to continue capture and checkmate the king, as the rook cannot come down to prevent because the bishop is pinning it. And with this, thank you.